We are live. Um, well, good morning, everybody. I am Latasha Davis. I'm the confident Black girl and the creator of the Inner Honey 30-Day Guided Journal. So today we are going to talk through journaling, the journal process, starting a journal practice, things of that nature, right? I really want to discuss, the benefits of journaling, how it absolutely helps save my life, and how it keeps me grounded in having that internal dialogue where I'm really fleshing out my emotions and my feelings and really making sure that I'm staying connected with who I am and what I am dealing with or going through, through the journey. So one of the things that I wanted to ask for everyone who is participating, do you currently journal or have you journaled in the past?
I journal probably not as consistent with it as I need to be, but I will journal, in I guess in spurts.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not as consistent as I should be personal journaling, but I consider when I write my daily gems, I mean, although that's not personal journaling, but I guess I kind of consider it that my form of, journaling.
Right. What about you, Ashley?
I haven't journaled in forever. So
Yeah.
I think it's definitely time to get back to it to add to my self care.
Yes. Yes. It is a great form of self-care. So for me personally, I haven't been as strong in my practice this last couple of I'll say months. I have journaled, a few times each month or whatever, pick up my journal. And I've been doing it in a more like note taking, doodling type situation, but not back into that very committed practice that I was doing every night before bed. That's when I would sit down and I would give myself 20 minutes or 30 minutes to just write it out, like really flesh out the day. So this conversation is for me as well, right? To get back into my practice. And it's really good that we're doing it now because, as Tracy mentioned, are we ready for July? We can start this and really push into having this consistent 30-day practice of journaling so that we can push into getting back committed for that. And sometimes it ebbs and flows. There will be times where you'll be super committed to your practice and really writing every single day. And then as you have those breakthroughs, and I think that's really what it is. I have a breakthrough, I get that emotion out or I work through that thing. And so I'm lighter, I feel different. And then I start moving and shaking a little bit more. And so I get a little bit out of the practice. And I think that's okay too. I don't think we're going to do everything the same way every day for the rest of our lives anyway. So I think that's good. So the benefits of journaling. Some of the benefits of journaling is, it will help you to reduce your stress. It is good for boosting your memory. It's good for self-reflection, setting and achieving goals. One of the things that it really helped me was to release a lot of emotions and tension that I was holding on the inside. I started my practice really committed to my practice at the beginning of a breakup. So I was, starting this divorce journey, and I realized that I was so frustrated. I was so upset and angry, and I hadn't I didn't know how to express those emotions. I didn't know how to get them out. And so when I started the practice, I realized that I was holding in so much hurt and pain. And I could see that by my journal practice. Like everything that I was journaling every single night, I was able to see so much of what I was feeling and what was going on. And you can even tell where your emotions are or how you're feeling by your handwriting. So that's why journaling is also really good because you are, what are the words for it? I can't think of the words right now, but when you are using your hand to write, it's a practice. And I don't have it in this note in front of me, but I know what it is, but I can't think of it. But You can tell. So you can tell the different emotions and feelings by the way you write. And that was very eye-opening to me. And then also, sometimes we carry emotions or thoughts that may be kind of heavy, and it's harder for you to express verbally or saying that thing out loud. But when we write that out, we're still releasing that thing. And that was very, very, very helpful. Um, so I created the Inner Honey 30-day guided journal to help people start a journal practice. I realized that when I first sat down to journal, it was difficult because I didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I writing? What am I talking about? And so the guided journal provides prompts to help facilitate those thought process, to really help you think through, writing. If you're not a person that can just sit down and free flow, there are prompts in here that will help you start the writing practice. So for those who are participating, when you think of your journal practice or when you're journaling, have you ever found that it was difficult to start the practice or just start writing, did you feel like you didn't know what to write? Or how do you start your practice when you sit down to journal?
Honestly, I don't, at this point, I wouldn't know where to start. It probably would literally be all over the place.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's okay too. That is okay. I think that's perfectly fine. So when you think about it being all over the place, is it because you feel like you have a lot of thoughts that you want or you need to release, or just not being able to get that starting place?
I think it's a combination of both, not knowing exactly where to start. And I think I do have a lot of different thoughts. Like
Mm,
I have a lot going on, not all bad or anything, but just a
right.
lot going on, a lot of transitioning.
Yes, yes. I'm not a believer of like good and bad thoughts. There are thoughts. We need to process them, however that is, however we're going to get them out. Tracy, were you going to say something?
No, I mean, I kind of feel the same, like what Ashley said. When I start writing, gosh, I got thoughts for days. So sometimes I, just I don't know where to get out and put it out. And then, like you said too, for me, I'll start strong. And it's funny how you mentioned sometimes when we need to release something, because I notice like when I need to release something, then I'll pop up my journal and I'll start strong, and then all of a sudden, like boom. Like when I was pregnant, I was supposed to journal every day. That didn't happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think.
But I would like to be more consistent with it.
Okay. So, for consistency's sake, and it's going to depend on your schedule and what works best for you. It's kind of like when we build a nighttime routine to get ready for bed, right? Some of us will take a bath for bed or drink tea. I have my facial routines, things of that nature. And what was helpful for me when I was very consistent, and I was very consistent for about 8 months, 7 months, something like that, like every single day. And it had gotten to a place where it's like almost craving to journal. But I would put a timer on my phone. So I would start my nighttime routine. And then when I got to that point, I would put the timer on my phone, put my phone down. And then, for that next 30 minutes or 45 minutes, it was about meditation. It was about getting quiet. It was about writing it out. And I just made sure to do that every single day. After about the 11th, 12th day of the first month, that is when it kind of became second nature. And then it was craving it, right? So even if I was out at happy hour, I stayed out a little bit later, I was ready to get home because I'm like, I gotta do my journaling. I gotta talk about this day. I gotta release this. You know what I mean? And so it'll just depend on when you have the most time that you could pencil that in the day so that you could get it done. Some people do it in the morning. For me, it was right before I went to bed. Don't know if that was helpful, but that's how
Plus,
I created that. Yeah.
uh, no, very helpful. Thank you for that. I agree that it does make a difference, with our routine. I kind of like at the end of the day, because maybe it gives you a chance to release a bunch of stuff, from the daytime.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what about you, Shamika? When you were more consistent, what time did you journal, or when did you fit it in?
I am more of an evening person. Like right before I get ready to wind down, it's one of the things that I would do to help me wind down. So a lot of the times my journaling happened in the bathtub.
Okay.
So yeah, I would just be, relaxing or whatever, and I would grab my journal. Instead of reading something, I would pour it into the journal. So
Yes. I actually like that as a suggestion, since I've been like, in quarantine soaking almost every night. So that could definitely had been a time where I could get back into my session there. Um, I don't know. Am I able to I didn't pull it up. Am I able to share my screen? Because I would like to
yeah, you should be
show.
able to.
Oh, I can. Okay, so let me just minimize this really quick so I can get that up, because I hadn't pulled it up and I should have. But I would like to show y'all what the journal looks like for those who don't have it. Um, give you an idea of what it is. One, I wanted to explain that it is a digital product. I know that was confusing for the first people who purchased because they thought it was a physical product. I wanted to create something that could be used multiple times. So for instance, like we're having this conversation and, some of us need to get back into our practice. I felt like having something digital that you could just open up, on your desktop or on your phone and get back into the flow of things without having something that you've written in already or something of that nature. So I wanted you to be able to use it over and over again. So that was my goal for the digital product. Okay, so let me come back in here wherever my Zoom is. There we go. All right, so let me share screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing. You got to turn it on for me.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Now we're gonna start. Um, Hold on. It should. Why doesn't this look like the one at work? Normally you would be able to just do it. Okay. Advanced sharing options. Who can start sharing with some multiple participants can share at a time? I'm not sharing though. Telling you can't share?
Yep, when I click it.
Normally, as long as I'm not sharing, let me see.
It would let me.
Yeah. Let me see something really quick. I'm gonna share. And then I am going to, okay, here we are. So I'm gonna stop sharing. No, you should be able to. It doesn't? Telling you.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
No, it does not. Okay, maybe that's a setting. Let me go in here really quick and look. I don't know if I can do that while you're on the phone though.
Okay. No worries if you can't.
Let's see. I can't imagine I did that, but yeah, I'm sorry. It's always a wasp or a bee or something up here.
Oh no. We can't get ate up by the monsters.
Okay, give me a second to see if you can maybe segue while I look for
Yes.
this. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Of course. So when I think about journaling, and I was trying to tell Shamika that before we started, and it was really good on my mind because I realized that my journal practice was so necessary to, one, facilitate healing, and two, to really discover who I was, right? I had been partnered for 15 years, married for 11, And one of the things that I realized during my journal practice was, at the moment, or at the time, I was 37 years old, and I hadn't ever really had, a good 24 hours just to myself. Okay. So that was something that I found out in my journal practice that was so, it was liberating to me, because I had given my life to my children at that point, and then my husband at that point. And when it came to, simple questions of people just asking me, what do you like? Or who are you? Or what do you want? I did not have an answer to those questions. And so getting into the journal practice helped me release emotions and feelings, but also it helped me discover who I was, what I wanted, what my goals would be. And even in the places where I didn't know the answer to that, I got to the answer to that by, having that conversation every day. So it was really, really good. But that is why I want people to start a journal practice if possible, is to really get that internal dialogue going, really, release what's really going on the inside, have that conversation so that you can talk to yourself, and get those things out. So, hey, Alexandria, how are you? Thanks for coming.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Some of the questions that I've asked already was, do you, or have you started a journal practice, in the past, present? Are you journaling now?
I've journaled for the last maybe 5 years, but I
Okay.
know within the last two, I've stopped. I picked up maybe a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So yeah.
Good. And I think that's about the conversation that we're having here, is really trying to get back into the practice, and why it's important for us. I think everybody understands why it's important, but just we're trying to, talk through how to get back started. What was helpful for you to start back into your practice in this last couple of weeks?
I'm just trying to figure out what's next for me.
Yeah.
I now have 4 kids, and just trying to figure out what's next for me in career and just life, period.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are really great reasons to get back into the practice. It still wouldn't, oh, hold on. Ah, why? It won't let me share, but that's okay. Miki, can you share? No? So I wanted to give you guys a or a journal prompt that you guys could use for the week, right? Um, Thinking about what you feel is most important for you right now, what what type of things do you need to release, or let go, or think more deeply on at the moment? That's for anybody to answer. I think I want to give two prompts because they go back to back. So the first prompt for the week is, what is the last promise you made to yourself and kept? And in the journal, I give these little drops of honey, right? So if I ask a question, I try to give more information on what I'm looking for, how to help you facilitate the writing. Oh, there we go. Hey, there's the inner honey journal. So this is the 30-day guided journal. Can you go to journal day prompt 10, please? Oh, or can I? Oh, you got it. Yes. Hey, look, we got table of contents. We've got all the good things. Yes. So we are going to do journal prompt 10. And the prompt is, what is the last promise you made to yourself and kept? And then I give a little drop of honey. So keeping our promises to ourselves is vital. When we keep promises to ourselves, it affirms that we can be trusted. Trusting yourself will open the door for confidence and self-assurance. You will start to construct a positive self-image and self-esteem with each promise you keep. My new practice is, if I cannot commit, I do not start. This way, I am honest or I honor my current schedule, energy levels, and only start more projects or spend time with people when I know I can. I only commit when I know I'm going to give myself or anything I do the 100% it deserves. The flip side to this, sometimes I commit to push myself outside of my comfort zone. Since I never want to make a promise I cannot keep, I would then honor my promise and push through. Work it out how you need, and above all else, promise to not do more harm to yourself. So this is what the prompts look like in the journal. And I think that's a good place to start, especially because we're trying to start back into our practice. So understanding or thinking through the things that we've told ourselves we were going to be committed to and we were going to do. What was that last promise you told yourself, right? Did you keep that promise? And if you didn't, what do you need to do to get back on track with that promise? For me, it's going to be the work that I promised to do in my business. So I need to get back on track with that. Where do I need to go from here? What do I need to be focusing on? How did I get off track? You know, what was discouraging, or what got me off track, or, you know, whatever. Those are going to be the things that I'm going to be writing through this week to help rebuild my foundation back into my business and what's important. What about y'all?
I agree. I like that. I really like
Yes.
that. You know, like I said, for me, I haven't been strict on it, and this session is kind of giving me the, not the confidence, I don't know the exact word, but just kind of maybe like, you know, the focus, which I need to do that. You're right, it is very therapeutic, and it helps all the way around. You know, it helps all the way around with business, with personal, with relationships.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's good because you have a business that you're running. You do have a new baby, and so it's easy for us to get off track with what we were doing, especially because life keeps going, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, let me get back to this. And one of the things that makes it so important is because your journal practice is for you, right? You are the first benefactor of your journal practice. So it's good because it is self-care, it is giving back to you, it is nurturing to you, it is focus for you, it is grounding for you. um and that's really why I like it too. It's one of the things that I do that is solely for me, that I benefit from it first. And there's residual benefits for everybody else, but I benefit first, and that's important.
I actually wanted to share something. So, what's really so I have the inner honey journal, and I didn't go through it, day by day, just because the way that I do journal is I'm just kind of free
Hmm.
flowing. But there are those days when I don't have anything that I can come up with. And what I
Hmm.
really appreciate about your journal is when you run out of thoughts, the prompts that you have in here give you some jumping off points, and I feel like they kind of reignite you. And
Yeah.
it's also one of those things where when you're out of thoughts, the ideas that you have on here as journal prompts, these may be things that we haven't thought about in forever. So, like, just for right now, as far as journal prompt number 10, what was the last promise you made to yourself and kept? I can't really think about that off the top of my head. And
Right.
keeping promises to yourself is really important. That's self-care. That is making sure that you keep your star player, right?
Right.
At the top
Right.
of your priority list. So I think that it's good to have something like this on hand, because, Alexandria is what she has on her page. Like Alexandria says, sometimes you've kind of exhausted everything that you're looking to do, and you don't really know where to go next.
Mhm.
So anyway, I just wanted to kind of add that in there.
Yes, no, that's perfect. And I want everyone to know that you don't have to follow this journal prompt, this book, 1 through 30. You know what I mean? You could just pick something and say, hey, I need accountability. Let me look at this prompt. Is this something that's going to help me get there? Or I need to remember my strengths, you know, so let me go look at this prompt or what have you. And that's why it has a table of contents. That's why, you know, it's designed this way. And you may do one prompt and do that prompt for the whole month, because you need to just keep pushing through. You need to keep going back. You need to keep revisiting that conversation. So I want anyone who has it to be able to use it however they need to. You don't have to go day 1 to day 30. You could shake it up. You could drop a number in a hat, you know, whatever it is that you need to do. I just want people to be able to release, be able to write it out, be able to be honest with themselves. And I think that was one of the most important things, is that the honesty that came from the journal practice, just feelings that I had never said out loud. Like, it was just like, wow, you know, I feel free, I feel lighter. And that's what I want, you know, I hope everybody can get that from the practice. Um, Ashley, you went away. What happened? You back, Ashley? Okay.
I went away.
Oh, I couldn't see you. There you go.
Yeah. I'm like, I did step away to get an ice cream sandwich, but
I put you on front. Oh man. The other prompt that I did want to share, another prompt just because it went together, but it's just prompt 11. It's right after 10. And that particular prompt, it goes with 10 because it's asking, you know, if you ask yourself, when is the last time you kept a promise to yourself? But then it says, okay, so what are some promises you haven't kept that you would like to revisit and devote to keeping now? I think that's really good too. So you can use one in a 10 and 11 together. Like, okay, so I thought through, when's the last time I kept the promise? I can't remember, or what have you, but here are the promises that I want to keep now. This is what I want to do going forward. So I want everyone to try to work through those for the next week or so, and definitely engage in the group. Let me know how it's going for you or anything like that. Does anyone have any questions or anything like that? I like I like how when I give the little drops of honey, I'm super transparent in this moment, right? Because I'm like, ooh, child, there's several for me. But guess what? That's okay. As I grow, I realize it isn't as important when I start changing, but that I start, right? One of the promises I am devoted to keeping to myself is to stay focused on not doing more harm. I focus on not doing any more damage to my mind, to my heart, and to my spirit. That means I focus on being loving in speech. I make healthier choices when it comes to what I eat and exercising. I surround myself with loving and inspiring people, and I strive to meditate and feed my spirit good things. Those good things can be reading material, songs, pictures of cute little babies, whatever is a loving or whatever is loving that will do no further harm to my spirit. So that is what I was envisioning when I was thinking about keeping promises to myself. And I think that I'm doing a really good job. I did start back like eating really healthy. And as I'm reading this right now, I'm like, ooh, because you know, the Rona had us a little bit out here with the snacks and things. But I am, you know, back committed to that and thinking through those things, which, you know, this is a very good moment for me because I'm like seeing my work come back to me like, okay, girl, you got to stay focused. So what are some of the things that you guys are going to be doing this week to make sure that you are committed or refocused on what you need to and in this moment?
I'm gonna ask for it. For me, that's, you know, I guess I could just keep pushing myself and asking for the focus to journal. I need it. That's why I'm here in this. I write so much, but I need to write about me. I guess if that makes sense, you know?
It does. I like that. I like
Where
that.
I feel like now too, like coming here is like I want to challenge myself to write for the next 30 days,
Okay.
at least for July, even if it's like a paragraph, a sentence, or something. You know, I write. You should. I have an issue too. I'll get a bunch of new books, bunch of journaling books. I'll write in them at different times, and then I never finish the shit up. And then they're all sitting there, and then I'm like, wait, I need a new book to write, and then I never. So I'm like, wait, I need to finish writing in these books that I already wrote in. I don't even know why I do that. I'm in there half written with stuff, you know, but what I do like to do is I like to go back and look at some of the stuff I wrote, like you were saying, like it does really show our growth. It really does show our growth.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? I'm like that too. Or I try to get like very cute books, you know, to keep me focused. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I want this, or I want that. But I think you need to make sure you add in there for your next 30 days, since you know that's your challenge, that this is the notebook, this is what I write in, period. Like, don't go get another one. No, this is the one. Always keep this one. And I think that'll be helpful too, because that is a part of keeping it organized will help, right? Because it's kind of like that's your little distraction for you, is that, oh, let me get this new book. Oh, I'm right over here. So just get one, Tracy, and stick with that one.
Just stick with one.
One for
I
right
got the
now.
same problem. I think I have notebooks, packs of paper, just stuff everywhere. I'm like, okay, what did I write the last time?
Yes.
So I got stuff
So,
everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay.
so I think, you know, some of us, we have the same, you know, little thing going on. I have hella notebooks, so I get it. That's why I say, okay, I have one that I bought, that's my new one, and that's where I'm writing. Although I have notes places, but for my journal, and I date my journal. Like I even put like, oh, what is this? When I have dreams, I put them in here sometimes. I know I should probably have a different one for that. And I also put like the new moon, the full moon, or whatever. I've even done like budget planning, like numbers in my journal, like whatever was coming
Yep.
up for that day, I would just put it in there. You know what I mean? And I always, oh, new moon in Aries, that's what that says for March. Um, I always make sure to include in my writing what I was grateful for the day, right? So once I've like released, oh, full moon in Gemini, I was feeling it right there. I always make sure to include something that I'm grateful for, because I think gratitude always, right? So I'm always trying to remember, like, what am I grateful for today? And make sure you put the date on it, because when you go back to reflect on your thoughts, or, you know, remember something like, you know, what was happening this day, you can go back to that day specifically and remember or see, you know, what were you dealing with, or what happened in that moment. That has been very helpful for me too. So that's just some tips from how I journal. And yes, I got hella notes, hella paper, all over the place. Um, I can't see. Why can't I see everyone? Oh, look, you have a little baby right there. I'm like, we
My
do.
little
We have a
boy.
baby right there. What was I gonna say? I don't remember. Any other questions or any other thoughts or any things that you guys want to talk about as far as like what you're gonna try to do this week, or how can I support you to help you stay focused this week with your journal practice?
I need just to take the time to sit down and actually write.
Yeah.
I'm working home and taking care of the kids, so it's like when do you have the time? So just making the time to do it.
Do you have a
I could
set? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I can understand that for her, because I have a kid too. You know, I have two, and then I have a household and other people to help. But I think nap time, you know, a couple minutes to nap, and I found that very productive for me. Like my boy, he's 8 months now, and his naps are really short, but it's like 10 minutes. So I gotta not scroll on Facebook for 10 minutes and focus on, journaling, which, like I said, in between the kids' times, that helps me focus on doing what I want to do, or at nighttime, depending on how he sleeps for you. Maybe at nighttime when you get that, that 5 minutes to 5 minutes to yourself, because that's all we really get sometimes,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask her, was if she had a set like bedtime routine for the kids, how to do those things. I mean, I know my baby is 17 now, but I know that when they were little, when they went to sleep was when I could do everything else I wanted to do. If it was,
Yeah, they
adult
usually go
things
to bed
or
at the
whatever.
same time. But
Okay.
sometimes I crash when they crash. So it's like, I guess I have to decide, like, okay, just stay up 10 minutes longer and do it and then go to bed. But yeah.
Yeah. And listen, 5 to 10 minutes works.
When I was journaling, one of the things that I had to come to terms with is I was always trying to have like a big, not necessarily a big to do, but I wanted to have a page or something like that of, this wasp, of journaling. And sorry, y'all.
It's fine.
It's always, I guess it's a hive up here or something.
Oh.
But I always, always wanted to have like a page worth or whatever. And I had to get that out of my mind. And whatever came up, I put on my paper. You know what I mean? And so if I couldn't think of anything, if all I did was just write down, what I was grateful for. There are some journal entries that are just, I'm grateful for this, or, anything along those lines. Or tomorrow I plan to do this, like maybe just mapping out what my tomorrow was or is going to be. So I think that we got to get out of our head a little bit too, because what happens is once you start writing, then spirit kind of kicks in for you. And as you're writing certain things, the next thought comes up, and what your subconscious wants you to release. We're like, oh, let me write that down. And then it just starts to go. So the writer's block thing we have to kind of, get out of, which again is really great to have journal prompts like this. But if you, for some reason, you can't find your inner honey journal, because I know you're going to get it. If you can't find it, then, just think of gratitude. Always think of what you're grateful for the day. Or just, it could be work related. It could be anything. Just start.
Yes, I love that. And yes, gratitude, I'm telling you, you start doing that, you get a whole page real fast sometimes. Like, I was grateful for a lot. And Shamika is right. Just starting to write, spirit takes over often. I will get done writing and I'd be like, whoa, like, where'd that come from? I had no idea. And there's days that I have 2 pages, 3 pages, because it just kept flowing and it kept going. And sometimes those are the days where I didn't want to journal, you know what I mean? Or I was just like, I don't do this again. And it just flowed. It just came out. So just start. It's kind of like how I think about my meditation practice. Like, I thought I had to have like candles and like music and ums and ohs and all this other stuff and doing all this shit. And I just was like, I'm never going to meditate because this shit is crazy. It's weird. You know what I mean? But just understanding that it don't have to be no big old, situation. We think we got to have all the candles and the sage and the this and the that. You know what I mean? You don't. You just need 5 minutes, 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Right. So that was really, really good. What about you, Ashley?
I think for me, it's just basically going to take me, like I think Tracy said, scrolling less and making better use of my time. Mine is usually at night. I have a very energetic 4-year-old that bounces off the walls. So for me, my time is usually at night. But even like today, it's kind of going along with the journal prompt. So I made a post last week because I did have an upcoming vacation, and I was like, I'm going to completely read a book on my vacation, right? But we're still working, so I rescinded my time. So that was one of the promises I made, and I kind of put it out there on Facebook for accountability. So I was like, man, my 4-year-old is gone. I'm out here. I'm just sitting here. Let me go grab my book. I have bought the what is it? The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, from the whatever.
That's a good
I
one.
went and grabbed it, but I got on Facebook scrolling. But this time it was a good thing because I was scrolling the group and I saw that we were about to have the Zoom. So I was like, oh, I got time. I could jump on the Zoom. So I think it's all pushing me towards what I was promising myself. More self-care, more things for myself, and just following through more. So
I love that.
being productive with my time.
Yes, Tracy spoke a word though, because that scrolling on that blue app shit be having us fucked up all the time. All the time. You look up like, damn, 30 minutes gone.
Yeah.
Or like, are we trying to avoid doing what we have to do? Because I'll do it. I'll be like, yeah, I gotta write this post. Something new is coming up. I'm gonna write my astrology stuff, and then I'm like, oh, let me scroll. Let's scroll. Let me talk shit on Facebook because that's more entertaining right now.
More interesting.
I recommended that book, Essentialism, because it does help you try to figure out, what you should be doing, what you should not be doing. It's all about priority. And I think that we use the word priorities, and I think that's what gets us all screwed up. Because priority is singular. There's only one priority, and we add in all of these other priorities. And what happens is we can't figure out which one is first. And so we like, fuck it, we just gonna go get distracted. You know what I mean? And so I think that plays a lot into it, is not really having a strong foundation of our priorities. But that comes into grounding. And, for those of you who are going to be, I'm sorry, this is not a shameless plug, but it just kind of goes into it. For those who are going to be attending the intention setting webinar, grounding is a big part of being able to set the tone for any type of intention setting that you're doing. And journaling is a grounding activity. This is something that you can do to actually get your energy back to where it needs to be. So I think that has a lot to do with it, but we're human, and social media is a beast. So don't feel bad.
It is definitely the beast. I love that. So since everyone's here, not everyone, but like Ashley says, she picked up the 7 spiritual laws of success. Has anyone else started the readings for the Glow group book club? Because Essentialism is the other one, which is really good. That hit me hard. I can't remember what it was. I posted it, but it was about essentialism is not about having more hours to do more things. It's about doing the one thing, like picking the right thing to use your time for. And I was like, I felt seen, right? Because I'm trying to do all this shit. And like Shamika said, priority, not priorities. And it goes back to like thinking you can multitask or whatever. And I understand with multitasking, we can't. You either gonna do one thing really well or a whole bunch of shit really bad. So what are you doing? But has anyone else picked up the books or whatever? Because they're really good. They are good.
I started, the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I think I've only, because I got the audio book, so I only did maybe 15 minutes of it so far, and then I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and then I don't know what happened.
I have the audio too, so I put it on and I started cooking, and it was just go. I've already listened to it like 3 times, and every time I'm like, ooh, a gem, a thing, a this. Put it in the background, and as what you need to hear in that moment, you gonna pick up on quick. You know what I mean?
I
So
feel
just
like
let it
being
go
at home with 4 kids, the audiobooks is best for me because I get sidetracked with actual sitting down and reading the book. So audiobooks actually work.
Sometimes they're hard because I don't like people's voices, but you know. This was a great chat, ladies. I really appreciate y'all. I'm very grateful for you guys coming. I don't even know if I've ever seen you. What are your names on Facebook? Because maybe that I have talked to you in the group and I just don't know. Because when we come on here.
Oh, my name is what's on my Zoom.
Okay. And Ashley, is that your name on Facebook?
Ashley Nicole.
Okay. Because I'm like, sometimes I want to put the face with the name, but then names on Facebook be like Juicy Booty 62, like, who is who? I don't know. So, but I'm so grateful. I appreciate y'all taking the time to chat with me today and talk about journaling, which I really, really love. And I would like to have more discussions with y'all about journal, your practice, and what have you. We can do this like every 2 weeks and just follow up, have a conversation, see where y'all are, and try to help y'all, keep pushing through the practice and coming back and just, talking it out, if you guys want.
Well, I would just like to say I appreciate you coming on and hosting this. Journaling is very important, and it's something that gets away from many of us. But just in the spirit of the Glow Group, it has to happen. In order for us to be able to move forward, we have to get to know this is part of know thyself, right? We have to dig into that part of ourselves, because that's where we become more confident. That's where we become stronger. If you don't know who you are, then guess what? Somebody's going to tell you who you are. And you may not like who they tell you you are. So you have to be very firm in that. And journaling is a big part of getting to know yourself and reflecting. At the end of the year, a lot of us didn't have a journal to look back at. And it's always very sucky, and you're trying to go back and reflect on what happened through the year. Now you're journaling everything in the month of October when you should have been journaling it all year. So just stay in the practice, people. But I appreciate you all attending. Coming to these types of events helps people to be more likely to do them for us, because naturally, y'all don't want to see me talking every time. And I know y'all be tired of me sometimes. So the more active and the more you all participate, the more likely we're going to be able to have people come do these types of talks with us and help us on our journey. So with that being said, if there's nothing else, I know we're at about 55 minutes or so. If there's nothing else, I'll let you all get back to your day, but I appreciate you coming. I know Tasha appreciates you coming. The Glow Group appreciates you all coming. You all actually are like the Glow Group, okay? But whatever. I love y'all. All right, well, y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I'll see y'all around.
You too. Bye.
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 Bye.